Hey guys, it's Leesh, and welcome to another episode of Car Confessions. Guys, listen, just leaving the Maxx, had to buy some things, and now I'm going home. I was going to go to Target, but listen, when it comes to me and like going to stores, like, unless I have someone with me that's like really guiding me in the process, actually go this way, they just kind of go awry. And, that happened. And now I'm like spent mentally. Like, I just need to go home and like regroup. So, yeah. Um, for those who may not, or maybe it's your first time listening to the podcast, the Maxx is TJ Maxx. Like, I live for TJ Maxx. Love it. It's like one of my favorite stores. And I frequent there pretty often. I haven't been going as much, but yeah, it's my spot. I love it, and it gives me life. So yeah, I had to buy a few things, and now I'm heading back home. I'm still on summer break. What is this truck doing? Yo. I'm in the Bronx right now. Where I live in the Bronx, I live right around 230. Like, I live in Riverdale, but where I'm at right now in my neighborhood is Broadway and 231st. Like, I live a little bit away from here, but if you know this area, you know how congested it is. The train is actually overhead as opposed to being underground. And so there's a lot going on, particularly in that particular intersection. Like, you're like, yeah, okay. So it's a huge truck. I mean, huge, like what do you call them? Semi truck. And he's like trying to turn in this intersection that is very, very confined. And so it's like you just see this huge truck and you're like, what the hell is going on? But yeah, I digress. Yeah, so guys, what is happening? How are you doing? What's going on? How are you feeling in all of this election stuff? Like, what are your thoughts? What's happening? I'd love to know. Hit me up. But I mean, as it relates to how I'm feeling, I'm literally at this place, and I don't know if I told y'all this already, but I am just kind of like looking from the outside in. Um, and just really trying to analyze what's going on, what's real, what's not real. And I mean that in the way of like, what is production? Like, what is the glitz and glam piece of it all? And what are they putting on the show? Like, you know, as opposed to really, what are you going to do for the people? Because that's kind of like where I'm at right now. Okay, great. We have these two candidates. Swell, right? But like, what are y'all going to do for the people? Like, truly do. Like, we are in the throes of the DNC, and I've been watching it, and listen, it's been a great production. Like, last night, they did the roll call of all the states, saying that they support Kamala Harris, and they have so many, is it votes? I could be saying that wrong. Don't quote me. But anyway, like, they have so many, you know, points. I guess it's like points to offer the actual approval from their state. Once again, I'm completely butchering it, but you know what I'm talking about. And so that happens. And like I said, it was really fun. And they had great music. Because if anybody knows anything about me, I love, in all caps, I love music. People are taking major risks right now. I don't know what that was about. Anyhow, so yeah, that happened, and like I said, it was really cute. Like, it was nice, and it served its purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like, great. Um, but it just leads me back to this whole thing of what is really going to happen when these people get in office, right? Like, what's going to happen? Are you really looking out for the people? Is this just, once again, a song and dance for God knows what? I don't know, right? And then, for me, too, my deal is, when are we just going to call it what it is in this country? Like, we are a war machine. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people are still, like, in this space, and even people that I'm around, my family, my friends, still feeling like we are a country that's meant to help the greater good. And as rough as it is to say, it's like when you start really looking at what's going on in this country and who we are in this country, it's like, oh, like we just promote war. Like that's just who we are, right? Like we are here to provide that type of how do I say it? Like basically we are here to just continuously be a war machine and provide weapons to said countries, right? You know, depending on who we are feeling like we can do those things with. And really, just kind of like the kind of like the eyes and ears. I don't know if it's the eyes and ears, that's a good way of putting this. But basically we're here to also appease the rich and ensure that they're okay, right? And that their way of life is substantial. And it's hard to like wrap your head around that sometimes when you really think about it, because it's like, really, that's who we are. And it's like, if you really look at what's going on in this country, even though we're constantly saying we're going to fight this and we're going to tax the rich and we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and it's like, why weren't the rich being taxed from the get-go, right? Like, why are we still fighting these fights? Abortion rights, diversity, equity, and inclusion, policy and protocols relates to workplaces and schools and just everyday life, equal rights for women across the board beyond the reproductive component, um, racism. It's beyond me that we are still fighting these things, and we're fighting them in a way that's not maintaining a status quo that's for the greater good of everybody. It's we're fighting things that weren't resolved in the 60s, that weren't resolved even before this. Like we are still fighting the same fights, and on the surface certain things look okay and look better, but at the end of the day, when you really think about it, it's like we are still doing the same shit. Like we're still doing the same shit, different day, different year, but it's nothing really majorly different. Yeah. Like I said, on the surface, certain things look better. And, to say completely not, we haven't progressed. We have progressed in some way. So I don't want to take away from the fact that, Black people have had the opportunity to, actually work jobs that would never even be something that was thought of maybe years ago or whatever. Or, just to have the diversity that we see in America. Those things are changing, right? But then we're fighting that to maintain to have diversity in this country, depending on where you live, like what state. Well, actually, all across the board. Let's just keep it real. So yeah, I just don't know what the end goal is, or if there ever is going to be an end goal, right? Because I feel like in some ways, status quo in terms of this constant fight and battle for equality and justice and all this is that trauma bond that many of us have. And once you take that away, then it's like, what do we have? Right? And I, for one, don't want the trauma bond. Like, I want liberation. I want for us to be able to live well, to be able to thrive in a society that affords everyone to prosper. And, some people say those things. They do. They say it. And that's fine, right? Like I said, it's that trauma bonding that kind of keeps us in the sunken place, if that makes sense. And I'm encouraging myself, and if this resonates with you, others that this might resonate with, I'm encouraging myself to step away from that trauma bond experience and trying to find my people by way of all this trauma that we've experienced, or find my people by way of us still fighting for things that feel like they're never going to change because we're still in the same system. And like I said, I'm working against that. And on top of that, my focus is on liberation and how I can liberate myself and those around me in ways that help us financially, spiritually, mentally, just across the board. Because continuing to try to operate in a society and in a system that was never meant to provide liberation for people like me, it's a losing battle. Like, it's truly a losing battle, guys. And I feel like if we don't recognize that, we're going to just continue to be in this circle of fuckery and foolishness until we die. And I honestly don't want to be someone who has worked my whole life for someone else and been oppressed in ways that I didn't even realize I was oppressed in, and then die. Then it's like, that was it. That was my life done. I worked. I, whatever. Like, I didn't do the things that really lit me up. I didn't do all the things that just made me feel alive. I don't want to be that person that's constantly towing the line and, checking off the boxes and making sure that, I'm crossing all the things off on my list, and that I'm working for someone, or working in an organization that's not really fulfilling who I am as a person. And I feel like that happens to a lot of us. We get stuck in these jobs and these careers that really don't, light us up and make us feel good. And then on top of that, we're dealing with all the microaggressions that are happening in these workspaces, particularly for Black and brown people, women as well, LGBTQ, like I can go on, marginalized people in these spaces that are trying to, break down all these barriers, to then find out that the people that really have this system in place and have all these structures in place, they don't want that to change. They're like, shut the hell up. This is how I roll. This is how we do it here. We might throw a few, DEI seminars in here to make you feel good, but then no, at the end of the day, this is our operation, right? And listen, that's how they want to operate. That's how they want to operate. But I don't want to be a part of that system anymore. I want to step out of that. I want to, and I am stepping out of that. I'm stepping out of that as best as I can, given that I still live in this country and in this world that operates in such a manner. So it's a lot, guys. It's a lot. But me saying all this is basically just me encouraging those that are out there that feel helpless, that feel hopeless, as it relates to this election, as it relates to all the things that are happening on a global scale, the genocide, not war, the genocide in Gaza, the genocide in Congo, the genocide in Sudan, the genocide all across the global south, the injustices that we see happening in the UK. I mean, I could go on and on. It's like, for everyone that is experiencing all of this turmoil, I encourage you to look towards liberation and whatever that means for you, right? I did a whole series on liberation, like in February up until like March of this year, and I interviewed different people. And everyone's idea of liberation was different, but overall, it was for the well-being of the collective. And it's creating liberation in ways that don't allow other people to have their liberation. Because if you're looking for liberation, and you're seeking liberation, that could only be in part by you also wanting liberation for everyone else. And I think that's where a lot of us have missed the mark. It's, I can be liberated, but you can't, because it's not enough liberation to go around. And it's like, that's the whole point of liberation. It's abundant. There's no cap on it, right? And I think it's another thing too for us. We've lived in such a scarcity type of mindset, on a global scale, that it's like, it's going to run out. What am I going to do? And it's reprogramming our brain and unlearning this whole idea of scarcity, that it's all fictitious and abundance is ours. We just have to reach for it and lean into that, and be uncomfortable with the fact that I'm not used to this, okay? But I'm still going to move forward in my true self as it relates to liberation. Yeah. That's my hope. And that's not even my hope. That is what I'm doing. Because I'm tired of, oh, I hope this happens. No, this is happening. This is happening. I am in the throes of liberation, on the journey that requires liberation to not only just be out in the future, but here right now. So certain things that I'm going to start doing in my life and that I am doing in my life that are creating liberation around me. And hopefully that'll be a ripple effect for those who are in my presence or that are just hearing this message right now. Liberation is abundant. Life is abundant, y'all. We don't have to be in this mindset of scarcity and that you're going to lose out on something, or you're not going to be able to get this and this, so I better just take everything I can right now because who knows if somebody else will take it away from me. Live in the mindset of abundance and know that what is meant for you, you won't lose it. You will never lose it, right? Whatever's meant for you, it will not pass you by. Yeah. I also, as it relates to this whole thing with the election and everything, I'm not in this mindset of trying to coerce people to either vote or not vote. I'm not in the mindset of trying to coerce people to vote for Kamala Harris or to vote for Donald Trump or to vote for a third party candidate. I'm in the mindset of you make the right decision for you, right? This country is going to do what it's going to do. Full stop. Seriously, like really think it through. And so whatever works for you at this time in your life, make that decision, live with that decision, and know that you were doing the best you can. And, well, hopefully you are doing the best you can. And hopefully you're doing things that would hopefully be for the betterment of people in general. Because at the end of the day, if we don't have each other, then what are we doing? What do we have, right? Things are temporary. Money is a tool. It's not a person. It's not something that you can have a conversation with and really have beautiful experiences with, right? Think about the things that really, really matter in this life and then go forth. And then just go forth with voting, with living, with being a beautiful human on this planet. Just go forth. Yeah, that's how I feel. Guys, I am going to go into this coffee shop. They have really good turmeric lattes. I love turmeric lattes. They're so good. And I've been trying to manage that because the turmeric lattes, because it's so much milk and this, that, and the other, packs on the pounds. And I did not realize because I was drinking turmeric lattes like they were going out of style. And I was looking at my midsection and I was like, sis, on top of, my other extracurriculars, God's still working with me on the sugar. But yeah, I had to scale it back. But I was over here in the neighborhood. I can't think of the name of the place. Zoinks, I would let you know about it. But it's over here in Riverdale. It's on Riverdale Avenue. And they have great turmeric lattes. Zoinks. I hate when that happens. But the point of it is, it's right over here. Great little bakery / coffee shop. If you're ever in the Riverdale area, do yourself a favor and find that place. Or reach out to me and be like, Leesh, what was the name of that place? Because hopefully by then I will be like, yeah, this is it. So yeah, that's that. That's my plug for the bakery / coffee shop I can't tell you the name of. But yeah, so I am going to head out. I hope y'all are doing well. And like I always say, y'all, let's just keep on keeping on. All right, y'all. I love you. And I'll see y'all next week. All right? Bye. Didn't do it.